In a decision that reverberated across royal circles and captivated global attention, the monarch's determination to engage in a prolonged game with the Sussexes unveiled a strategic shift in the dynamics of the British monarchy. This unprecedented move, fraught with implications and speculation, marks a pivotal moment in the relationship between the Crown and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. As the chessboard of royal politics is reset, all eyes are fixed on the unfolding saga, where tradition meets modernity in a high-stakes match of influence and legacy. At this point in time, I am completely in accord with the decision that the King made to play the long game with the Queen and the Duke of Sussex. There would have been a backlash of support for the Sussexes, particularly regarding racism and mental health in the royal family, who allowed a pregnant woman to wallow in fear over herself and her unborn child because there was no help available to combat her fears of self-harm. If he had retaliated early on after the Oprah interview, there would have been a backlash of support for the Sussexes. Despite the fact that the senior royals remained silent, the Sussexes moved on with their lives, basking in the glory of their victory. This allowed them to continue publishing books and conducting additional interviews, all of which contained unflattering information about the royals and their corrupt practices. When I was a youngster, I spent the summer working in a huge department store. This whole circumstance brought back memories of that period. Despite the fact that I was not entirely certain enough to make a fuss about it, I saw a young woman coming out of the store wearing a dress that she had just tried on and was still wearing with her coat covering everything up. I decided to ask a different, more senior clerk if she had seen that instead. She responded in the affirmative. Nevertheless, in the long run, the consumer will become extremely self-assured, and she will be discouraged from conducting business. As of right now, the business is not going to take any action until there is complete and utter certainty, and as clerks, we are not compensated to investigate situations involving theft. In addition, there are other personnel who have been employed, and they are aware of what is occurring and how to handle it. Similar circumstances exist here. Instead of the royals trying to stop the Sussexes in their attempts to create havoc for the monarchy by garnering support from sugars and A-listers, who are sympathetic to their plight, and friends, and maybe a royal cousin or two, the family continued to do their jobs and allowed the Sussexes to carry on with their antics, basically to let their actions speak louder than words. When it was first announced, it seemed as though the conclusion of the Oprah interview would be favorable to the Sussexes. Even Michelle Obama, to the best of my knowledge, concurred with the idea that racism was taking place in the British palace, although she did subsequently express her hope that the family would be successful in resolving their issues. Even after the 17 lies that were revealed in the interview were made public, Eugenie continued to be a close confidant of both of the Sussexes as far as I am aware. At least up until the point where it became clear that they were grifters, the Sussexes were riding high and had a great deal of success in securing lucrative posts in the United States of America. Eventually, over the course of time, the two were unable to keep up with their shenanigans, despite the fact that they were confident in doing nothing but betraying and blaming the royals for all of their problems, while at the same time clinging to their titles. Consequently, in spite of the depressing story of woe is me, people ultimately began to become aware of the truth. The occurrence of the event was a slow and steady process. In a manner similar to the tale of the emperor's clothes, something was simply not fitting together. The fact that the royals are decent people became abundantly clear. The work that they were doing is still being done. They are not a nuisance to anyone. But why should we throw stones at them every single time, without any reason? They have beautiful children. Throughout the years, we have witnessed their development. The king is now dealing with health problems. It is also true for his daughter-in-law. They are experiencing pain. Why would you want to hurt them? For what reason are we taking revenge on them? It does not make any sense. After that, there was an automobile chase in New York City, and the parents claimed that their children were in danger and that they had to be hidden from view at all costs. It does not make any sense. These are the kinds of thoughts that must have occurred to the average person, and gradually, people began to wonder, what exactly is going on here? What, therefore, is the next step? Harry is in a position that is truly one of a kind. Indeed, he is neither a fish nor a bird. He is a royal, yet he is not a royal. Because of this, he gets stuck on the line that is being managed by his wife, who will only give him a limited amount of space to move around in. Since he is now a fowl, he is no longer a member of his family. He has flown the coup and is having a very tough time getting back into the fold that he was affiliated with. I do not believe that Meghan is missed in any way by the royal family, and she is aware of this fact. It is more desirable for them if she does not come back. In other words, the king and his son and heir William are the ones who will ultimately decide what will happen to the Sussexes. They are the ones who will make the decisions regarding this predicament of what to do with the Sussexes. Of course, there has been involvement from the other members of the senior royal family, but Charles and William rule the roost, so to speak, and it appears that the pigeons have come home to roost, or that the Sussexes, at least Harry, wish to move back even though it appears to be on their or his terms. It's not very nice. Accordingly, it does not appear to be a good situation for the Sussexes. Their crying, whining, and complaining have reached a point where it is now considered excessive. I believe that they have gone beyond what is acceptable. People are experiencing boredom. It has even come to my attention that some of the contributors are either losing interest in the affairs of Sussex or have ceased participating altogether. The bottom line is that Harry has made the decision to jump ship and follow his wife, wherever that may lead him. And now he must continue to the best of his ability, regardless of what those abilities may be. At this point, what other options does he have, except for the continuation of the legal proceedings? I do not believe that he has addressed the issues that have arisen as a result of the rapes and beatings that have occurred in the African Park scenario. What is the reason for the delay? Are you interested in the Invictus Games? Everything is fine over there. I really hope that the attention and money are not being directed toward Meghan's fashion presentation, but rather toward the wounded warriors who are deserving of the attention and the support. Both of them still have a lifetime of living ahead of them, and in order to make that happen, they will undoubtedly want financial support. Therefore, unless Harry is able to gain access to his trust, which is controlled by his Aunt Anne, it is possible that money will be difficult to come by. In addition, he ought to ask himself this question: who will actually be able to receive benefits from this trust? Is Harry going to be the one, or the woman he married? Is it both? There are some profound ideas on the topic of finances that Harry ought to take into consideration. Within the context of her position as administrative trustee, his aunt does not appear to be very generous. Why does she have such a fear? To be more explicit, what are the concerns that the royal family has with the possibility of Harry returning to the fold on any level of the family? To put it another way, let's be honest. What are the overall benefits that Harry brings to his family? Not at all. The safety of his relatives is in jeopardy, and he poses a threat to the system's security. The wrong people have the ability to quickly exert control over him. To phrase it another way, he is able to be bought and sold. There is no loyalty on his part toward his family. The question is, what are the advantages of having him around? Aside from the fact that he is a royal son of the king, he does not really have any other standing except for that. Therefore, in the end, it is really up to Harry to decide what he wants to do with the rest of his life and what he wants to do with it. What would it take for him to break free from Meghan Markle's grip and return to the fold of the family with his head bowed in shame? Alternatively, to carry on with his pranks and proceed to confront whatever lies ahead of him as it occurs. Does he love his wife in a way that is sincere and genuine? Is he content with the marriage he has? Does it involve trust in any way? Questions that are difficult. My opinion is that the ball is in his court, not Meghan's, since I feel that the royal family is completely fed up with her. I believe that that is the case. However, it is possible that Harry will have the opportunity to redeem himself before his father passes away, much like the prodigal son in the Bible. At the very least, there is the possibility that Harry may be placed in a secure setting where he would not be a threat to himself or anyone else, and where he would finally be able to enjoy some tranquility and comfort for the rest of his life. In any other case, he ought to acknowledge the fact that he has severed all ties to his previous existence, and then make an effort to move on with a constructive outlook from the perspective of what his life has become. To put it another way, he has given up his status as a royal individual in order to be with the lady he loves, just like his great-uncle did. Also, he needs to figure out how to live with it. That's right, no one knew who she was as an F-list or worse actress on Suits until it came out she and Harry were dating. The engagement interview was nauseous with her acting like a giggly schoolgirl. when she turned to look at the flower girls and was caught on camera glaring at Princess Charlotte. Then the truth came out about her bullying Princess Charlotte at the dress fittings and not wanting Charlotte or George as part of the wedding. Of course, hardly anyone in the US except their sugars believed the BS from the Oprah Leafest. Oprah received so much backlash within a couple of days for the Leafest. She was on an interview show with her bestie Gayle King, whining. Oprah, as a journalist, failed in not verifying what they were going to say and questioning them. Her words were to Gayle, "It was their truth." After the backlash, she distanced herself from the Markles, especially the A-listers also weren't their friends. Her reputation was already well known as a yacht girl, an F-list, or worse actress. The Oprah Leafest has been the only time they have been on a TV show, same as Henry approaching one of the head people at Disney, basically gate crashing an event they were not invited to, asking to let her do a voiceover for an elephant production for Disney. The Markles promised to donate the money she received to an elephant charity of Disney's choice, but the Markles kept the money and didn't donate, so Disney donated. Also, her voiceover was so grating and bad the movie was never put out for the public. They haven't been invited to any real awards shows that A-listers attend, such as the Met Gala. Anna Wintour is a staunch monarchist and refuses to invite them. They always use the excuse their invites are lost in the mail for awards shows they weren't invited to. The only award shows they attend are the minor awards they paid to receive, or something William Morris Endeavor has paid for in William Morris Endeavor's name for the Markles to attend. A perfect example is William Morris Endeavor paid for her to attend a women's variety award show. She had to be forced to leave walking the red carpet and getting her picture taken. She was staying on it to get her picture taken with real stars in line to walk the red carpet. Pics were shown of her assistant literally pulling her off the red carpet. Pics also showed her seated by herself at a back table. William Morris Endeavor also paid in William Morris Endeavor's name for a table for the Markles for Kevin Costner charity event party at his home. They were not invited guests. They also made fools of themselves, gate-crashing the stage where Kevin Costner politely insulted them to their faces. They were too obtuse to realize they were being insulted. Same with Ellen DeGeneres and her wife Portia's wedding or commitment ceremony at their home. The Markles weren't invited guests. They gate-crashed because of the A-listers that were invited. Michelle Obama also distanced herself from her after they ended up at the same restaurant and ate together. She later made out like they were besties. Michelle Obama wasn't happy about that. When Michelle Obama was on tour for her new book in the UK prior to Meghan, she showed up at the back door unvisited, expecting to go on stage with Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama had the Secret Service send her away. Certainly I would have disowned Harry. He would be dead to me, a middle-aged man of complete insignificance and toxicity. Now all families have difficult times. It is how we are bound together with our love that pulls us through. I have never gotten that sense from him. All I can remember is one nightmare experience involving him after another. I believe the entire royal family should have no further contact with him. If Henry breaks up with Meghan, I think the royal family will take him back. Leaving him to wander around the world, a target for more con artists or troublemakers, could be too risky for the monarchy. It would be much safer to give him a cottage on one of their estates and an allowance that can be reduced or stopped in response to any attention-seeking behavior. Better to have a loose cannon where one can keep an eye on him. That is why when Invictus Games first came to be, Catherine and William stepped back and let Harry run with it. To me, it is logical. Harry is just a train wreck looking for his next disaster. He had the military, and he had a passion for the games and great enthusiasm. This was something he could well and truly get involved in, and both the games and Harry would benefit greatly. From that moment up until a few years ago, there were no more cringe-worthy stories about Harry and his drunken, drug-fueled, very messy escapades in the media. Invictus Games grew, and Harry seemed focused and happy. He did such a good job, but the past few years have been somewhat tumultuous. It seems he has lost control of the games, and it has become more about his spouse. Or in another development, Harry needs to be sent to his home in Africa to work for charity with his head down and no publicity. He needs time to contemplate and atone for his actions and sins against his family and the royal family. If Meghan leaves him penniless, then he gets food and basic clothing. He can save his wages for an Xbox and a phone. He should not have access to a royal allowance so Meghan can continue to grift off him. Of course, distance makes the heart grow fonder. These two adolescent idiots will never be done with each other. No one in the US had even heard of her, and most didn't see her wedding. No one even knew she was black until they heard her claims of racism. Unfortunately, that launched her. They should not ever have access to the royal family. Harry is a goner by his own doing. The only way for Harry to make amends and return to the royal fold is by doing two things. 1. Leave his lying gold digger, no good wife. 2. Front up before the cameras, apologize, and come clean. This will then serve as a solid record of admission for the future, should he even think of a reversion. More brownie points if he agrees to lighten the royal workload without publicity or fanfare or saying very much at all. If he agrees to eat humble pie, the British public may slowly warm up to him. And no balcony appearances, and here I'm just saying it's possible because I'm not sure if the British public will forgive him. Clearly, Harry burnt his bridges. His actions and lies have consequences. He is a middle-aged man, not a child. He won't ever be called on for any royal duties. He is not needed to fill any gaps while some are off ill with medical conditions. Other loyal family members have stepped in to fill the gaps. Harry can't be trusted, and the royals are also more than aware the UK public, and those in the Commonwealth realms won't accept Harry's return either. He may be a member of the family and loved, but just not trusted. I don't believe the ball is entirely in Harry's court about leaving that woman and returning to the royal family. He is utterly unreliable and treacherous. He will keep causing worries and upset. The family might not welcome that. It's not all about what Harry wants. There are other people to consider. What I am suggesting here is that the royal family does not take Meghan Markle seriously as part of their family anymore, and consequently, they are hoping that Harry will make a decision independent of her input. If I was a betting woman, I would not put money on this happening. Harry is too emotionally dependent on her. The unhealthy interest that many, including myself, had with the trials and tribulations of the whining couple was unbearable and hard to sustain. I am so over their stunts and shenanigans. Time to pull the plug, velvet cord, or whatever is holding them up. Done. I saw through her from the beginning. The whole sordid tale is just beyond belief. Here's something I once made a video about, but I want to repeat it today because it upsets me. It seems inconceivable that anyone would want to speak up in order to justify and explain Meghan Markle's position. Ron Tarassian, the founder and head of the public relations business 5W Public Relations, is speaking out at a time when the entire world is discussing the problems and conflicts that she has brought for the British royal family. Insulted the royal family as well as the people of the United Kingdom in an effort to explain Meghan's decision to remain in the United States. This defense is not only illogical, but it also causes a great deal of anger among a lot of individuals when they consider Meghan's behavior at this point in time. In an effort to provide an explanation for Meghan Markle's decision to remain in the United States, Ron Tarassian, the founder and chairman of 5W Population Relations, has expressed his disapproval of the royal family, as well as the general population in the United Kingdom. The phrase, "her presence will enhance the occasion," was stressed by him. He informed the media in the United Kingdom that the way the people of the United Kingdom have treated the Duke and Duchess of Sussex has inspired Meghan Markle to want to stay in the United States for the long run. Tarassian made the observation that actions speak louder than words, and we do not need a direct quote from Meghan to understand that she's not happy with how she has been received by Britons. On the other hand, there are speculations that claim Markle is aware that she will not be welcomed back into the royal family, and it is said that the palace has made this point quite clear to her. According to Tarassian, when she first met Harry, she attempted to integrate herself into the royal family. Her endeavor was unsuccessful. Her enthusiasm was contagious. On the other hand, this does not coincide with the stories in which Markle turned down assistance and engaged in a passionate confrontation with Princess Anne not long after her marriage. An interesting fact is that a statement was revised before it was distributed to the media. The statement read, "Do not anticipate any trips to the United Kingdom from them as a couple. The only times that Meghan will accompany Harry are for exceptional events where her presence will make the event more memorable." At long last, it would appear that Meghan has made the decision to proceed in her own manner, notwithstanding the opinions of the British public. What prompted Ron Tarassian to confidently claim her presence will enhance the occasion, that Meghan Markle's presence will add to the significance of the event, is a question that is difficult to comprehend. Not only is this comment completely ridiculous, but it also demonstrates an astounding lack of awareness. Tarasian continued to attempt to excuse and protect Meghan, despite the fact that she has regularly caused difficulty and upset both the British royal family and the general public. The question is whether he is putting his own interests ahead of the facts, or whether he is simply not grasping the situation. Not only does this discrepancy make the general public feel uneasy, but it also raises a great deal of doubts regarding the genuine reasons that he is making statements in support of Meghan on her behalf. Ron Tarasian, I want you to pay attention to what I have to say. There is no way that Meghan's presence will ever make any event more special, and we Brits do not like the way that Markle has treated us, so as far as we are concerned, she is more than free to avoid us. When she is in the United States, she is free to act in whatever manner she chooses. As someone who has a deep affection for the royal family, I would prefer that she be located a great distance away from here. However, as no one else wants her, we are forced to deal with her disgusting behavior and skanky attitude. For me, that's how life has been. Watching her consistently disregard and destroy the traditions and ideals that a significant number of us hold dear is a painful experience. Those who value the dignity and decorum of the royal family are left with a foul taste in their mouths as a result of her every action, which appears to be geared to provoke controversy and stir up drama. To witness someone so brazenly reject the honor and respect that the institution deserves is a source of maddening frustration. Instead of making any event more enjoyable, her presence frequently gives the impression of a gloomy cloud that is hovering over moments that ought to be occasions of celebration and unity. The saddest aspect is that, despite the obvious dissatisfaction of the British public, there are still voices like Ron Tarasian who justify her behavior on an inexplicable basis. This further alienates those of us who want to see the royal family flourish without the perpetual shadow of her discordant presence. Obviously, we are able to express ourselves freely here, and it is not bonkers. Make sure that your prince is saved before the witch destroys any remaining brain he may have. After that, he should be placed in the dungeon, and our next president, Donald Trump, should be able to place Harry somewhere on an uninhabited island, far away from any other things. Her machinations and self-serving actions continue to make headlines, which is extremely aggravating because it diverts attention away from the true challenges that are being experienced and the genuine work that the royals and others are attempting to achieve. We have no choice but to hold out hope that common reason will win, and that people who are in a position to make decisions will acknowledge the negative impact that she is having. Taking a position and stating that enough is the moment to do so. Those individuals who want to exploit our valued institutions for their own personal advantage should be shown the door. It is imperative that the integrity of these organizations be protected. We must continue to be watchful and use our voices to call out the hypocrisy and demand accountability as we wait for the situation to improve. Not only do we deserve better, but the royal family does as well. Let us take measures to guarantee that the legacy and honor of the monarchy are not tarnished by the activities of a small group of individuals who are more concerned with their own image than with the larger good. Nevertheless, I am perplexed as to why they are all falling for her nonsense. Is it not appropriate for them to investigate her past and find out what she has been up to in the past? Despite the fact that she is a terrific personality, the world cannot live without her. If she had never met Harry, she would have been left with a footballer in the United Kingdom who was somewhere in the center of the pack. In the beginning, she had her sights set on Ashley Cole, but he told her, "Sorry, I've already been there and done that." As a result, he pushed her to get in touch with him. To think that Ashley would have more to him than a prince of the realm is a surprising assumption to make. Keeping his opinions to himself is the best course of action for this fucking American Jobsworth, who is hoping to make a buck or 10 off of the rancid duo. In addition to the fact that we do not want them to be here, we do not require an idiot like him to give us a lecture on anything. In response to Ron Tarasian, a few words. Your handsome head should not be concerned. Nothing that this guy says is significant in any way. I am not familiar with the individual in question. Even though it is said that he is a huge whoopee-doo in the United States, I would have to Google him in order to find out who his clientele is and where he is located. To me, this smells like a clump of feces that belongs to Markle. This indicates that she purchased the services of an unknown individual, adorned him with credentials that sounded impressive, and provided him with a script to read. Take note of the eyes of the man. Not even a Mad Hatter could compare to him. All that is known about him is that he is the largest of all the blah, blah, blah. Are you able to locate him? In New York? Which city is it? Is that his basement? Nobody is interested in what this guy has to say. In addition, I want to say hurrah to you people if she decides that she will never return to England. Keeping her here, where we can continue to reject all of her frantic attempts at success, is something that we are pleased to do. It is worth noting that one of the comments on this post said that Meghan may be attempting to conceal the kids from the scrutiny of the United Kingdom population. It is her official justification and declaration that she would never return to the King's court, and that she has repeatedly declined his invites. It makes a great deal of sense to me. It is common practice for celebrities in Hollywood to keep their children hidden from public view. Hence, her peculiar behavior regarding the children is not recognized. The rat is such a frightening creature. In spite of the fact that he has a small intellect, Harry is able to explain this kind of behavior. In order to provide you with additional information regarding Terrasian, this American was compelled to resign from his own company. An esteemed newspaper known as Advertising Age has criticized him for engaging in shady business tactics that are directed at rivals. He made an attempt to get Taylor Swift as a client, but she declined his offer. As a result, he is now engaging in negotiations with Mad Meghan. It's possible that I'm being cynical, but he's simply looking for some self-publicity. It is utterly insane to pursue another failure after another failure. To put it succinctly, being completely self-opinionated is not a sensible move, and it will make her even less popular than she currently is. To our great relief, she is no longer a part of our royal family because she was never a suitable candidate for that role. There are very few invites extended to her, and she has not even been accepted among the stars of Hollywood. This minx has a lot to learn that the majority of people have already learned when they were children, and being a social climber will not succeed in getting her anywhere. At this point, she is comparable to the final exhalation of a helium balloon that is deflating. The exhaustion of all of her flatulence and drivel are exhausting her. My thoughts wandered to the possibility that she would be silenced after a protracted period of slow leaks from the palace release. I have the idea that William is in a far more powerful position than the general public and the journalists are aware of or comprehend. While I am aware that she was seeking someone to enhance her reputation in the United Kingdom, it is possible that she engaged this company instead. It won't be long before her contract with William Morris Endeavour expires, and other than disrupting events, they haven't done anything for her. Reiterating things that she instructed him to say is the only thing that he is doing. Why is he sharing all of this information with the British? Does he believe that they are serious about it? This is especially true when one considers the fact that Meghan was mistreated by the royal family in the beginning. These words are coming out of her mouth, and she believes that those words will help her become more well-known among the people in the United Kingdom. Meghan Markle needs to come to terms with the fact that not all of us are as unintelligent as her husband. We are able to recall memories. The year before, when several big statements were made that Meghan and Harry were going to move away from discussing the royal family and go forward with their own efforts, stands out in my mind as a very distinct memory. Could there be anyone else who recalls that? In spite of this, here we are, another public relations firm that continues to rehash the same old complaint from, I don't know how many years ago now? Regarding the constellation of scores of specialists who are being paid to resurrect the body of Meghan's career aspirations, where exactly does the 5WPR company fit into the picture? It's just a question. Well, that's all for today's video. Thank you very much for watching our video. And what do you think about this horrifying act of Harry? Please express your opinion in the comments below. Hope you will always be cheerful and happy. Don't forget to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye and see you again in the next videos.